The storm began the night Evelyn Gray returned to Willow Creek. Thunder rolled over the hills like the growl of something ancient. The house waited for her, dark and silent, its windows glimmering with lightning. She hadn't seen it in 20 years. Not since her father's disappearance. The letter had arrived a week ago. No sender. Just 3 words in neat handwriting: "Come home, Evelyn." It had been sealed with red wax. And inside, folded once, was a key. Now, standing in the rain, she turned the key in the rusted lock. The door groaned open like something waking from sleep. The air smelled of dust and time. Everything was exactly as she remembered. The portraits on the walls. The grandfather clock that hadn't ticked in years. The faint echo of her father's voice in the silence. "Evelyn?" She froze. The voice was real. "Who's there?" she called. The only reply was the sound of dripping rain. She closed the door and walked deeper into the house. Her shoes left muddy prints on the floorboards. In the study, the fireplace was lit. Someone had been there recently. On the mantel sat a photograph of her father, Charles Gray. He was smiling, arm around a woman Evelyn didn't recognize. The back of the photo read, "To remember what we lost." She pocketed it. Upstairs, the halls were dark. Lightning flashed through the windows. A door creaked open on its own. Evelyn hesitated. Then pushed it wider. It was her father's old room. The bed was unmade. The mirror above the dresser was cracked. On the floor lay a journal. The pages were soaked, the ink smeared. She could only make out one line: "The clock knows the truth." That night, she couldn't sleep. The wind howled outside, scraping the branches against the glass. Somewhere in the house, a clock started ticking. She hadn't wound it. The sound grew louder, tick, 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 until it echoed through every wall. Evelyn followed it downstairs. The grandfather clock stood tall in the hallway, its hands spinning wildly. Midnight struck 13 times. Then silence. A whisper followed. "Find me." The voice was faint, like wind through an open window. Evelyn's skin prickled. "Father?" Nothing. She searched the base of the clock. There was a panel she'd never noticed before. She pried it open. Inside was a small wooden box. Inside that, a silver locket. The locket held a photograph of a young boy. Not her. Not anyone she knew. And beneath it, a folded note. "If you find this, the truth is beneath the house." She looked toward the cellar door. Her heart pounded. "Beneath the house," she whispered. Lightning flashed again, illuminating the narrow cellar door. It was half hidden behind the kitchen shelves. She moved the shelves aside and descended. The cellar smelled of rotten metal. Her flashlight flickered. Rats scurried along the walls. The floor was wet, a thin layer of water reflecting her light. In the center stood an old chest. It was chained shut. She found a broken crowbar and pried it open. The lid groaned, releasing a wave of stale air. Inside were bones. Human bones. Evelyn staggered back. Her breath came in sharp bursts. She dropped the flashlight, it rolled across the floor. A shape moved in the shadows. Someone was down there with her. "Who's there?" she demanded. A man stepped forward, thin, pale, eyes hollow. "You shouldn't have come back," he said. "Who are you?" "The caretaker," he replied. "You know what happened here," she said. "I keep the peace," he whispered. "Peace?" she said. "There's a body in that chest." He looked at the floor. "That's not your father." "Then whose is it?" "You'll see," he said softly. "When the house decides you're ready." Then he vanished into the darkness. Just gone. Evelyn stumbled back up the stairs. Rain lashed against the windows. Her pulse thundered. She locked the cellar door. She wanted to run, but something made her stay. The locket in her pocket felt heavier. She opened it again. The boy's eyes seemed to follow her. She whispered, "Who are you?" And the whisper replied, "My name is Henry." She dropped the locket. The voice had come from behind her. She turned and saw a figure in the hall. A boy, no older than 10. Pale skin. Wet hair. Bare feet. "Henry," she breathed. He nodded. "Where is my father?" "Gone," he said. "Gone where?" "He found out," Henry said. "About the house." Evelyn stepped closer. "What about it?" "It remembers." "Remembers what?" "Every lie." Lightning flashed, and the boy vanished. Only the echo of his words remained. Evelyn ran to her father's study. The journal still lay open. She flipped to the back pages. One entry was legible: "I was never her real father. Margaret did this. She brought the house to life." Her throat went dry. Margaret was her mother. But her mother had died when Evelyn was 5. Or so she'd been told. "What did you do, Mother?" she whispered. The whisper came again, "Look in the mirror." She turned. The cracked mirror above the desk reflected her, but the reflection smiled. She wasn't smiling. The reflection's eyes darkened. It whispered, "She's still here." The glass shattered. Evelyn stumbled back. A gust of wind slammed the door shut. Pages flew like birds from the journal. One landed at her feet. It read, "The house feeds on memory. Don't let it take you." Her heart pounded in her ears. She needed to get out. But the front door wouldn't open. The key no longer fit. The storm outside had stopped. Everything was still. Too still. Then the clock began ticking again. This time, backwards. She followed the sound. The hands of the clock spun rapidly. The world seemed to blur. The fire in the hearth reversed, smoke sucking back into wood. Evelyn stumbled, dizzy. When she looked up, the house looked newer. The wallpaper was fresh. The lights glowed warm. She had gone back in time. She heard voices in the next room. Her father, younger, laughing. And her mother, alive. "We can't keep it hidden forever," Margaret said. "We must," Charles replied. "If anyone finds out, it's too late," Margaret said. "She's part of it now." Evelyn's stomach twisted. She stepped closer, peeking through the door. Her parents stood over a cradle. Inside was a baby, her. And beside her, another. 2 babies. Twins. "We can't raise both," Charles said. "We'll hide one," Margaret whispered. "In the house." Evelyn gasped. The candle flickered. Margaret looked up, directly at her. "You shouldn't be here," her mother said. The room dissolved into darkness. Evelyn woke on the floor. The house was old again. Her head throbbed. The clock read 3:13. The cellar door was open. She heard crying. A child's voice, Henry's. She went down once more. The chest was open. The bones were gone. "Henry," she called. "I'm here," he said softly. He stood by the far wall, holding something. A mirror shard. "Do you remember me now?" "You're my brother," she whispered. "The one they hid? The one they forgot," he said. "The house remembers everything." "What do you want?" "To be free." "How?" You must choose. Choose what? Which one of us stays? Evelyn froze. What do you mean? The house can only hold one. No, if you leave, I stay. If I leave, you stay. She backed away. There must be another way. There isn't. I won't let the house take either of us. Then it will take both. The walls began to shake. Dust rained from the ceiling. The whispering grew into a roar. Evelyn reached for Henry's hand. We'll end it together. She pulled him toward the staircase. The air turned icy. Shadows reached for them. The door slammed shut. Run, she shouted. They pushed together, the door cracked open. A beam of morning light cut through the fog. Evelyn shoved Henry outside first. He turned, crying. Come on. But the house was collapsing inward. She tried to follow, but something held her back. Invisible hands gripping her arms. She screamed. Henry reached for her. You said together, he cried. She smiled sadly. I remember now. You were the one who belonged here. Go, Henry. The door slammed. Light exploded. The house roared. Then went silent. Smoke curled into the pale dawn sky. Henry stood on the grass, shaking. Behind him, the ruins of Willow Creek smoldered. He opened his hand, the silver locket glimmered. Inside, both their faces shone. He whispered, "Thank you, Evelyn," and walked away. Years passed. People avoided the ruins. They said the place was cursed. Sometimes, on rainy nights, a light flickered among the stones. Some said it was lightning. Others said it was her. Evelyn Gray, the woman who freed the house. The woman who remembered. Deep below, where the cellar once stood, the earth pulsed faintly. The whispering was gone. But one clock still ticked beneath the rubble. Its hands moved backward and forward, never stopping. The faint echo of a lullaby drifted through the mist. A mother's song. Hush now, little one. The wind carried it across the fields. And far away, Henry dreamed of her voice. He would never return. Yet every storm brought her memory back. Because some houses never die. They wait. They remember. And sometimes, they whisper your name. One night, decades later, traveler passed the ruins. He heard ticking beneath his feet. Curious, he brushed away the moss. There lay the brass clock, still running. He lifted it carefully. Lightning flashed, illuminating the dial. It read, Willow Creek, 1889. The hand struck 13 times. The traveler froze. A woman's voice behind him said softly, "You shouldn't have come back." He turned, no one. Only fog. The clock stopped ticking. Then started again, backwards. Somewhere in the mist, Evelyn smiled. Time had turned full circle. And the mystery of Willow Creek began anew.